Here we go, Wednesday night, we're ready to go here from Daytona. It is pole qualifying for the Great American Race here under the lights at the Daytona International Raceway. Hello guys, my name is Brian. I'm here with you for the coverage today for Tinkle Group Gaming. 50 cars will take time in individual qualifying, so stay tuned. Grab the popcorn. We have a long night ahead here on Tinkle Group Gaming as we prepare to set the front row for the Great American Race. Before we do so though, let's show you what to expect in this session. Of course, it'll be single car, one lap qualifying. This was a random draw. It'll only be one round. The first 30 cars will be a mix of go or go homers, cars outside of the top 20 as well. And then the last 20 cars will be the top 20 in the owner's points from Season 7. The top 2 lock positions for the Great American Race, unless they wreck. Of course, that's big as we got the duels tomorrow night here on Tinkle Group Gaming. The top 3 go or go homers will lock into the Daytona 500 and keep their positions in the dual races. The rest of the go or go homers will be sent to the back of the field as they are a DNQ. And one last thing to note, the past champions provisional, which is held by Alexander Rowe, he is one of the guys who must qualify his way in on time. It cannot be used in this session. Alright, now let's get on to the qualifying order. Here's how they will stack up today. Of course, we will kick things off with Parker Smith, and then we will wrap things up with Dylan Ibrahimian in the number 18. And there's kind of a look of the in-between. I'm sorry if you can't read it, and sorry I don't have a fancy graphic for it. But that is what you can expect here at Daytona today. Anyway, the 44 is heading out on track for his warm-up lap, so let's take you right to the action with the number 44 of Parker Smith. Here we go, welcome back to qualifying here. Parker Smith, the first one out of 50. He is one of our part-time drivers. You see his warm-up lap, a 50.68. Here is the real lap, though. Parker Smith, a double points race winner twice last season. I believe he also won the regular season title. Looked like he was going to be a threat to win the championship, and I believe in the round of 12, or round of 8, it just fell apart for him. He's back though. He's running the part-time schedule. He'll be running here. The other Daytona race, the other Daytona Oval race, so I should say, he'll be running, of course, Talladega, both races, Ricky Raceway later in the year, as well as the Southern 500 and at Indy and Charlotte. Much like the rest of these part-time drivers, but he has a tall task making the field. 50.265, and that's where he'll place for now. He's the fastest of, actually he's the only one that's qualified so far. Here comes Carter Joey, driver of the 45, the second entry for 2311 Racing. You see he's on his warm-up lap, a 50.305. Again, he's got to beat a 50.265, I believe, to win the pole, or to be the fastest thus far. Carter Joey does not have to worry about qualifying on time for this event. He is one of the ones locked into the field by luck of the draw. So he does not have to worry about his qualifying position. As he'll cycle around, he'll come back to the line. 49.937, that'll put him on top for the time being. Here we go, Dylan Young, Team Penske, the number 2. He's set to take his first lap. Another one, again, he does not have to qualify on time. He's locked in regardless. And if his warm-up lap is any judgment, this one might be a little questionable. The two car puts down a 50.835 again. No worries, because he will be locked in regardless, but still. Again, the conditions staying the same for everybody for the most part. It's the line 50.463. That will unfortunately put Dylan Young third so far. Here comes the 36. That is Tommy Baldwin Racing, their first attempt to make a race in, I believe, 2 seasons, and that is Tyler Michael Rich driving the number 36 for him. The Golden Corral paint scheme. He is looking to make his Jello Cup Series debut. Of course, he is one of the 7 part-time drivers that are attempting to make the field for this race, as well as one of the many go-or-go-homers. Keep in mind, we have got about 10 go-or-go-homers that are going to run the full schedule, 7 that will attempt a part-time schedule, and this, of course, one of them. Can he beat the time? He cannot. Tyler Michael Rich, slowest so far of the go-or-go-homers. Here we go. Here's Bafode Sacco in the number 54. That is the Gaunt Brothers, but it is a car with the Tech Alliance with 2311 Racing, and of course Joe Gibbs Racing, but it has to be under the 2311 banner because Joe Gibbs fields 4 cars, which is the maximum allowed in the series. Bafode Sacco, of course, a playoff driver from last season. He is returning to run the part-time schedule, so you'll see him again, much like Parker Smith, at all the Super Speedway double points events, or Super Speedways and the double points events, as well as the All-Star Break. You also saw him in the Clash on Saturday night here on the road course. Let's see, will he put himself ahead of the 44? A 50.087. He will pass the 50, or the 45, or I'm sorry, I mean the 44 in qualifying. Last season, Mitchell Collins entered here needing to qualify on time and ultimately did not make the field. This season, Mitchell Collins, regardless of what happens, he will be in the field for the Daytona 500. Of course, last year, not a great year for this 22 team, and so far the Ford's not off to a strong start. As you can see, Mitchell Collins turns a 51.55, or 0.55, so not a great start here for the Fords. And they will probably end up going back to the drawing board. Dylan Young, one of the slowest right now. And why is that significant? Of course, Mitchell Collins, Dylan Young, longtime teammates. Coming back to the line. 56.58. I believe he's quicker than Dylan Young, but still not quite a good lap from this 22 team. Here comes Pretty Shaw driving that Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. She is one of 2 entries for this team, Charles Sanford being the other. And the first lap, not looking good. That is a 51.628 on the warm-up. And she is going to have to find a lot of speed. She is the first, I believe, of the full-time drivers that has to qualify on time. Of course, the mark currently set for the go-or-go-homers by that 54 of Bafode Sacco. So Pretty Shaw going to have to go to work here. Pretty Shaw, here we go through turn 4. Where will she put her Trackhouse Chevy? 51.207. That is toward the bottom of the boards. Not looking good for the number 1. Here comes our first Honda, the number 26, Brittany White for Andretti Autosport, a 56.85 on the warm-up. Of course, this is the lap that counts now. We can confirm Pretty Shaw will have to race her way in the blue-green duels tomorrow. For Brittany White, she's going to be attempting to make her debut as well this weekend. She's got to beat a 50.82 to at least stay alive. Now again, there's no one locked in yet, but a 58.2 keeps her alive and forces the 36 to have to race his way in tomorrow night. Through 4, coming to the start-finish. 50.310. For now, Brittany White is in. Here comes Charles Sanford, former Daytona winner. He won the Coke 0400 a few years ago. And he's going to have to beat a 50.310 to have a chance. His teammate Pretty Shaw the slowest right now, but obviously it doesn't look like Sanford will do that. He comes over from his own racing team. They decided to, it looks like, shut down operations for this season, and Sanford decided, hell, I'll go to Trackhouse Racing. The 3-time winner in the Jello Cup Series. His wins came at Talladega. Well, first at Daytona in dramatic fashion. Then he won at Talladega the season after that. And last season, he won at the Bristol Dirt Track to make the playoffs for the first time in his Jello Cup Series career. So a lot to build on. But unfortunately, a lot to lose now. He will have to race his way in the blue-green duels tomorrow night. Here we go, defending champion Michael Collins in the number 38. You're riding on board with him. You see his warm-up lap of 50.61. He is locked in as he drives that second Front Row Motorsports Ford, so no concerns for him entering the session. But of course he's going to want to lay down the fastest time he can. Through 4. Where will the defending champion be? 50.23. That should put him toward the top in this session. We are 10 cars in. The top 3, Carter Joey, Bafode Sacco, and Michael Collins. And now here is Samet Ozkan in the number 11. He is coming off probably his worst statistical season in the Jello Cup Series. Moves over from Hendrick Motorsports to join Joe Gibbs Racing. And he, of course, in a similar situation to last season, he will have to race his way in. And so far, if that warm-up lap is any indication, it might not be a good one. He may be racing in tomorrow. Of course, currently the bubble held by Brittany White, a 50.310 for the 26. And that's the mark that has to be beaten by these go-or-go-homers. Where will Samet Ozkan slot in terms of that? 50.87. Samet Ozkan will be racing his way in tomorrow in the duels. Here comes the sophomore driver for Colleague Racing this season. That is Roberto Crown Jr. in the number 31. Of course, a kind of horrendous rookie season. He drove for Joe Gibbs, I believe, last season in the number 20. He moves over to the second Colleague Racing car. He will be locked into the 500. That is the difference, though, this season. He will be locked in. So no fears here entering Speed Weeks. And of course, he will want to improve upon his rookie year. And he does have a great teammate alongside him, a guy who could very well make the playoffs this season in Tyler Faden. We'll see where that 31 slots in. What will the lap time be? A 50.89. It's going to be toward the bottom of the charts, unfortunately, for Roberto Crown Jr. Season number 6 champ Scott Upton is up next in qualifying, a 50.98 on his warm-up lap rather. Scott Upton moves over from Trackhouse Racing, where he had an okay year. Unfortunately, did not find victory lane and did not make the playoffs in his defending champion or in his title defense season. Little fun fact, of course, we will have Alexander Rowe later in the session. We've already had Michael Collins go, but the last 2 champions to come back and defend their title have missed the playoffs. Something to keep in mind for Michael Collins. We'll hope that Scott Upton can make it in this year. Of course, he will turn a lap of 50.58. We have a whole mess of go or go homers coming up now in this part of the session. Here is Colin Cropley in the number 9. He has to beat a 50.310. He lays down a 50.487 on his warm-up lap. And if that's any indication, he may be in good shape. Driving that number 9, replacing Samet Ozkan. Again, he cannot lock in at this point. But again, a 50.310 bumps Brittany. It bumps Brittany White in the 26 and makes her have to race her way in on, well, tomorrow night. Out of 4, where's Colin Cropley going to go? He's going to be the fastest Chevy. 50.101. Colin Cropley, for the time being, is locked into the 500, but of course, still plenty of go or go homers left to go. Here we go. Season 1's Daytona 500 champion Eric Faden. 50.527. Keep in mind, for him to have a shot at locking in, he's going to have to beat a 50.265, which was laid down by fellow part-timer Parker Smith. And of course, the 62 team locked in last year to the 500 with Dave James driving. So a little bit of pressure here for Eric Faden, but he's used to that. And he's used to winning at Daytona. Of course, one of the other ones that ran in the Clash on Saturday to get a little bit of experience with this team. And through 3 and 4. Will this put the 62 in for the moment? 51.29. Eric Faden for the moment is in. But he will be on the bubble with another go or go homer coming up next. Here comes the first of the 4 Subarus that'll attempt to qualify for the 500. This is Brian James in the 05. 51.6. That's not going to put him in if that's the warm-up lap, of course. Keep in mind, that's almost a full second off of what third of the go or go homers Eric Faden ran. But for Brian James, he's attempting to make his second Daytona 500. And of course, this team, Western New York Autosport, their 4th entry that'll run part-time this season. The other 3 coming soon. But for Brian James, switching to Subaru. Of course, this team was Chevy for so many seasons. And they decided, let's switch Subaru. 50.66. That's not going to put him in. Brian James will have to race in tomorrow night. Here comes Trevor Collins in the number 12. Boy, his warm-up lap of almost a full, I think over a full second off of the time he needs to beat to put himself in a position to make the 500. So Trevor Collins, he's going to have to buckle up tight here and find something. I just don't think it's going to happen for him. Of course, Trevor Collins, one of the ones who does have to qualify on time for this event. I'm sorry, on time and speed. Coming out of 4 here. He's the only Penske guy who has to race his way in, and it looks like he's going to have to do so tomorrow. 50.82 for the number 12. Parker Newhouse in the number 42 will be making his debut on Sunday in the Great American Race, as he is one of the top 33 drivers. New team, Petty GMS Motorsports. Of course, this car number was with Chip Ganassi Racing before. This team is the old Petty Ware Racing team, and now they are Petty GMS. Of course, his teammate Dick Clark will run a little bit later in the session. And Parker Newhouse, if that's going to be anything as far as what to expect with this lap time, or that warm-up, this is going to be a lousy lap for the 42. 51.263. That actually might put him as the slowest below Pretty Shaw. Here comes the 16 for Colleague Racing, and that is Tyler Faden. A 50.45 on his warm-up. He might be headed toward the top of the boards at this rate. Of course, Tyler Faden, a winner last season, didn't make the playoffs, though, unfortunately. But nonetheless, he's happy to get that chip off his shoulder. Of course, this season he has a teammate, the sophomore driver Roberto Crown Jr. He's going to try to teach him everything he knows, I'm sure. Here we go. Watch this to the line. Where does the 16 place? 50.068. This should put him, I believe, in the top 5. Here comes the money team. That is Lyle Austin trying to make his debut. 50.92 on the warm-up. He's got to get in the 51 range, the 50.1 range, in order to make it in on speed. And this one might be a little bit of a tough ask for the 50 team. One of our part-timers, so, you know, trying to get used to the team, get used to the car. You really don't have much time here at Daytona to do so. But I'm sure the 50 will look forward to the duels tomorrow night. But let's see where he places. 50.53. Unfortunately, he'll be racing in tomorrow. There's one thing I loved immensely about this signups. As Allie Rain takes time on her warm-up lap, here's the big thing I love about what happened with signups. Of course, we got a lot of drivers. We got a few drivers that are returning for the first time in multiple seasons. Allie Rain is one of them. She returns for the first time since season 3. Unfortunately, the warm-up lap kind of gives that one away. But for Allie Rain, she will make her first start since season number 3, the year that Diego Yepes won the championship. And with the same team she last ran for, she ran in the number 6 the last time around. This time in the 17, and unfortunately lap time will put her slowest, or second slowest, amongst the people who've qualified so far. Here comes season number 5 champ Alexander Rowe. He's had a rough go of things in recent seasons since. This will be his second new team, I believe, second or third new team since. And his opening lap was, or his warm-up lap rather, was a 50.75 for the second Andretti Autosport entry. Keep in mind this team does have to race its way in, and after Alexander Rowe qualifies, as far as the go or go homers go, this is where the action will pick up. Currently the 54 is the fastest of the go or go homers. The next car that qualifies that does not beat his lap time will lock him in. But Alexander Rowe hoping to pick up 6/10. He's not going to get there, unfortunately. 50.39. Alexander Rowe will have to race his way in the duels. Here comes the rampage. Reggie Fogelman, the next qualifier. His warm-up lap not too good, unfortunately. 50.93, but he will be racing on Sunday regardless, as he is one of the top 33 drivers. And Reggie looking to lay down a flyer here. His speed's looking good. This lap has a little bit of promise to it. .50.55 for the 14. That should put him around mid-pack. Dave James behind the wheel of the 65 this season, replacing Giorgio Stumu. And unfortunately, not a good lap. Started off 51.29. Of course, the 65 will be locked into the 500. So the good news for Dave James, unlike his last two attempts, now keep in mind, this is his third attempt at the Daytona 500. He ran it in season 6, missed the field. Season 7 made the field, got a 9th place finish. So, of course, this team expecting big things out of that 65 car this season with him behind the wheel as they switch over to Subaru. This is the second of 4 Subarus, by the way. Austin Shaw, Dan Hummel still to come. 50.90 for Dave James in qualifying. Well, I told you guys the main reason I'm looking forward to Speed Weeks, and that's the return of drivers. However, this one is not a return, but it is a teaser to a return. Jessica Kinghart, the son of Richard Kinghart, the one of the first Jello Cup Series drivers. Of course, you will see Richard try to attempt to run his first race in 5 seasons. Jess Kinghart trying to attempt to make her first race of her career, and she's looking good right now. 50.32 for the 7. Keep in mind, she's got to be in the 51 range or higher. And again, I lied, so no one can lock in here on this run. 49.97, that might have just put her at the top, and on top of it, could potentially lock her in to the 500. We'll be right back with the 55 in a moment. Here's where the action's going to pick up. Jessica Kinghart did get to second, not first, so I just wanted to correct that. She could lock herself in here as Nicholas Jawit turns a 51.18. Nicholas Jawit, a former SHR driver, ran last season with them. Unfortunately, not back with the team. He is with MBM Motorsports right now. He is going to have to pick up over a full second, and I just don't see that happening. So Jessica Kinghart might have just locked herself into the Daytona 500 with that run. Of course, if qualifying ends right now, it'd be Jessica Kinghart, Bafode Sacco, and Colin Cropley all running in the Great American Race. Eric Faden was the one bumped by Jessica Kinghart's flyer lap there. 50.81. 18th for the 55. Here's Bradley Ream, driver of that 2017 Hesseberg Ford. His warm-up a 50-50. Keep in mind, he is going to need a 50.101 to bump Colin Cropley, or a 50.087. That's what he has to beat to lock into the Daytona 500. Otherwise, Bafode Sacco will be the one to transfer in, and Ream will have to race his way in on Thursday if he can't beat Cropley's time. And it's looking promising. Probably the fastest Ford so far, is what I could argue, based on the warm-up. He's just got to keep it steady, finish this lap. 51.42. He falls just short of locking, or of bumping Cropley, and the 54 Bafode Sacco will lock himself in to the Daytona 500. Here comes Mohammed Zain Abdullah in the number 19. He is one of your drivers that is locked into the field. No worries for him. As you see, he got a 50.91 on his warm-up lap. That would technically slot him about 23rd, 24th right now. So he's going to have to find a little bit more. Of course, his teammate Samet Ozkan didn't do too well himself. Keep in mind, Samet, it ran a 50.87, but it looks like the 19 should be able to beat that. Mohammed Zain Abdullah, usually a playoff threat in this series, but unfortunately this past season, things just didn't go his way. So we'll see if he turns his luck around in Season 8. 50.54. That'll slot him ahead of Reggie Fogelman in qualifying. Here comes another driver looking to make his first start in 5 seasons. That is Richard Kinghart in the number 66, a former Daytona winner himself. Not in the 500 though. And of course, as we mentioned, attempting to make his first start in 5 seasons with MBM Motorsports. It's not looking promising in qualifying so far. He's going to have to beat a 50.101 to lock in. And I just don't think he's going to get there. He's almost a full second and a half slower. And he's certainly much slower than his teammate. Richard Kinghart, of course, again, Season 3 was supposed to be his last season. He spent a few seasons off and decided, hey, why don't I come back and race with MBM? He'll be running the full season. He'll have teammate Nicholas Jawit for a handful of races to help him get reacclimated. 51.43, that'll put him the slowest so far. Richard Kinghart going to have to race his way in tomorrow night. Well, we can confirm to you 3 drivers will make the Daytona 500 in this session. And those 3 are Jessica Kinghart, Bafode Sacco, and Colin Cropley. They will all make the 500. Kinghart, or Jessica Kinghart, and Jessica Kinghart and Colin Cropley will be making their Jello Cup Series debuts on Sunday, regardless of what happens in the duels. This is Noah Sewell in the number 20. He will race on Sunday as well, driving that number 20 for Joe Gibbs, replacing Roberto Crown Jr. By the luck of the draw, they are in the top 33. And a 50.55 on his warm-up looks promising. Let's see where he puts it. 51.91. That should put him toward the top. Should slot him in about 7th or 8th. We're on to the top 20 after this. Here we go. We're back with the top 20 from the owner's points now, and we kick it off with one of the Stewart-Haas Fords in Jessica Strauss. She will make her debut on Sunday, driving that 41, replacing Nicholas Jowett. And the warm-up lap not looking good, so this lap gonna have to be better. Again, the Fords have struggled so far in single-car runs. Here we go. To the line. What will the improvement be? Not too good. 50-80. Strauss is going to have some work to do in the duels. He's got a lot of wins to his name here, and now he's joining the Stewart-Haas stable with his fellow Australian. This is Nate Rattray in the number 10. He runs a 51.23 on his warm-up lap. Comes over from Hendrick Motorsports to join with Zach Fitzwater as the two veterans of the team. They will be joining rookies Reggie Fogelman and Jessica Strauss. You just saw Jessica Strauss qualify. Now it's Nate Rattray. Next you will see Zach Fitzwater in the number 4. And through 4 for Nate Rattray. It's not looking like a good lap for him. 58.23, slower than his teammate Jessica Strauss. He's going to have some work to do in the duels if he wants to start up front. 9-time winner in the Jello Cup Series. One win he does not have is a Daytona 500 victory. It's Zach Fitzwater in the number 4. Of course, last season he only won at Watkins Glen after a season 6, which saw him see victory lane 6 times. So he'll look to kind of get back to that form this season. Of course, he's going to have some work to do in the duels, but that's not surprising. The Fords have really not shown single car speed all day. So you got to wonder what they're going to have in the draft. Keep in mind the Fords looked good on the road course on Saturday, but boy, today here on Wednesday, not showing any speed on the oval. 50.98. This will just about put Zach toward dead last on the boards. Here's the first of the 2 Rick Ware Racing Fords. This is Joey Trickle, the Daytona 500 defending winner. And we're going to ride on the helmet cam with him. And you can see him riding the bumps. It's not looking like a good lap so far. Again, the Fords have struggled so far. We've documented it the last few times out. And this is an SHR-aligned Ford, a 51.23 on his warm-up lap. And we'll see what it is coming to the line this time for your defending 500 winner. $58.48 for the 51 for Rick Ware Racing. Here's a name you haven't seen in a few seasons. This is James Qualls in the number 34 for Front Row Motorsports. He is locked in based on the draw. Unfortunately, his lap time not so hot on the warm-up. I don't think we've seen James Qualls since about Season 1, Season 2. I don't know, I'd have to double-check the stats on that, but it is the first time in a long time James Qualls will start a Jello Cup Series race. I do remember he ran in this series, so I know it's been 8 seasons, but I remember. To the line, let's see what he gets. 51-11, and much like his Ford counterparts, he's going to have some work to do. At least they'll all be grouped together. That's about the only positive for the Fords right now. Here comes Mitchell Hodak in the number 24. 50-97 on his warm-up. He is going to be locked in, of course, just like everyone else going from here on out. He replaces Nate Rattray, who's had a few successful seasons behind the wheel of that car and has moved on to bigger and better things over at Stewart-Haas. So a lot of pressure, some big shoes to fill for Mitchell. As he works his way through 3 and 4. Be interesting, where's he going to slot in? 50-97, that should put, I mean, if he picks up 4/10 like everyone else has kind of done, and he does, this should slot him about midfield for the number 24. Here we go, the 43, Dick Clark, the second car out of that Petty GMS stable, a 50-84. Much better than his teammate on the warm-up lap. Of course, his teammate Parker Newhouse, the slowest right now of all the cars that have qualified, or one of the slower ones. Dick Clark moves over from 2311 Racing to take over this car. Former championship 4 driver as well. Did not come close to that last season, but he made it the year Scott Upton won the championship, and I believe he was the runner-up. Out of 4. If he gains about 4/10 here, this could be really good. 50-47 for the 43. Here comes one of the championship 4 drivers, Dan Hummel, in the number 25. 51-27 is his warm-up. It's not looking good for the third of the Subarus. Of course, Dave James and Brian James, 2 of the Subarus have already gone. Brian James going to have to race his way in. Dan Hummel will not. And the one thing is, you look at the Blink Subaru, you don't want to skip leg day, something I never do. Of course, love working out at Blink Fitness, so shout out to my Blink friends and family there. Is, you know, again, can't skip leg day, come on. Out of 4. Here we go to the start-finish. Where will this put him? 50-92. Dan Hummel going to have a little bit of work to do. Austin Shaw is the last of the Subaru bunch here. A 51-01 on his warm-up. This could be destined for the front row. And now we watch intensely. Again, he's got to beat a 49.93. And if he picks up 4/10 on this lap, like everyone seems to have done recently, this is going to put him on the pole by a mile. Of course, that paint scheme, pretty similar to the rally car paint scheme for Subaru back in the day. $49.72, top of the boards for the 48 of Austin Shaw. Well, after that fast lap from Austin Shaw, here is Max Anderson. And unfortunately for him, it's going to be a 51-27 on his warm-up. We'll see how his actual lap goes. Max Anderson moves over here to RCR in the number 8. He replaces Lenny Florentine, who is not back this season in the series. Through 3 and 4. I don't imagine this will be a good lap. Probably going to be toward the 30s or late 20s. In a 5087, that'll probably put him in the 30s. Keith Stevens in the number 6, looking pretty quick so far on that warm-up lap, a 50.33. Now for the real thing. We'll see if he can pick up 4/10, maybe put himself on the front row with Austin Shaw. I imagine the pole will not be the immediate thought after that warm-up. Of course, we are down to our final 10 cars, and after this we have 9 cars to go in qualifying to determine who will be the front row for the Great American Race. We've already determined who will make the field for the Great American Race on Sunday. Here we go, 49.96. I don't think that's going to be enough, and it won't be. It'll slot him in third, behind Carter Joey. Here comes Tony Green. We had mentioned earlier, Richard and Ryan Kinghart, first time in a car in 5 seasons. Tony Green can about say the same as far as the Jello Cup Series goes. This Sunday will be his first Jello Cup start since season number 3. When he drove for Chip Ganassi Racing, he moves over to Hendrick and will drive the 4th car for them. That 88 team, he replaces Parker Smith, who made the playoffs last season, won 2 of the double points races. So high expectations for him taking over that ride this season as he comes to the line, 50.69. He's going to have a little bit of work to do in the duels. Here comes Nathan Faden, the longtime Richard Childress driver, looking to regain form here in season number 8 after an off year last year. Did not make the playoffs, unfortunately. He'll look to do so this season with the next-gen car. 51.69, though, he's going to have a lot of work to do on this lap, and probably in the duels as well. We'll see what he picks up here. It doesn't look very promising for the 3 team. And unfortunately, it's not going to be a 51.28 for Nathan Faden as he kicks off season 8. It's been a little bit in this session since we've seen a 23.11 car go in qualifying, and now we have one. It is Aubrey Scott in the number 23, and she lays down a 50.72 on her warm-up. We'll see what the second lap brings. She replaces Dick Clark after kind of an up and down season for him with 23.11. Of course, now you add in the second car of Carter Joey, who is currently in second in this session. Aubrey Scott does have a nice veteran teammate who came over from SHR and should help her a lot in her rookie year. 53.23 for Aubrey Scott here in qualifying. Here's another driver who hasn't run in about 2 or 3 seasons. That's Steve Morgan for Rick Ware Racing, a 50.80 on his first lap. This is the final Rick Ware Racing car to go, and after this I believe we've only got 5 more that have to go before we end our session here. Of course, Steve Morgan teaming up with Daytona 500 winner Joey Trickle, so this could be a really good pairing for Steve Morgan, who's not had the best Jello Cup Series career, and it's going to be a 54-21 for him. Pretty decent lap for the final Rick Ware racing car. Here we go, Ryan Kinghart, the number 78 for Live Fast Motorsports. His first start coming in 5 seasons for him. And his warm-up lap, much like his dad, not very good. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do if he wants to compete with his sister on Sunday. And we'll see if he can pick up a little bit more there. And hey, maybe starting at the back might not be a bad thing. He's locked in. He can out-push his dad into the 500. Which I'm sure Dad would love for that to happen. Some pretty stiff competition. Coming to the line. 51-15 for Ryan Kinghart. He's going to be starting at the back in his duels, unfortunately. Here comes Ryan Dorani here in the number 47. He'll make his debut on Sunday in the Great American Race, and he times in with his warm-up at a 50-89. We'll see if he can pick it up. If he can pick up about 4/10, this should put him in the top 20, at least for the session. So a good start so far for the JTG Doherty car, the only one in the field for the 500. Of course, this team downsized from 2 cars to 1, with Tim Randolph leaving the organization, who drove that 47 last year. And Ryan is going to have some work. He's going to maybe get there. See, 50-52 should put him about mid-pack for this session. Kyler Anderson's going to have 2 tall tasks, one for this season and one for this session. For the season, he obviously is going to have big shoes to fill. He has to replace Diego Yepes, the season number 3 champion. That is his season task. His session task is to match what his teammate Jessica Kinghart did in the number 7. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this one's going to be anywhere close. 52-19 for the 77. A tough start with that warm-up lap. Now let's see what the real lap is. I imagine not too much better for him in that Voyager Chevrolet. Of course, one of the cars sponsored by a cryptocurrency entering Daytona. Coming to the line, 51-83. 77 going to have to make up a lot of ground in the duels. Alright, take a look at the left-hand side of your screen. That is the current results in qualifying so far. Keep in mind, if the 21 Tim Randolph cannot get on the front row, which it doesn't look like he will based on the warm-up lap, that means that Carter Joey will lock in to second at the, that means Austin Shaw will lock on to the front row at the very least. Tim Randolph, again, is the second to last driver in this session, driving for the famed Wood Brothers. And of course, he moves over replacing Skylar Martin, who moved over to the NASCAR, or to the Lyft National side. You will see him on Friday night racing at Daytona, and probably tomorrow for qualifying. Out of turn 4, where will Tim Randolph place the former Championship 4 driver? He'll turn a 51-36. So again, probably about the 30s. He's going to have some work to do in the duels, as we have our final qualifier, Dylan Ibrahimian, coming your way in just a moment. Final car to qualify, Dylan Ibrahimian in the number 18, and based on his speed, based on his lap, this could be a threat to Carter Joey on that front row. Dylan Ibrahimian comes over to this team, replaces Nick Martin, another one who has gone down to the Lift National Series for the season, despite a playoff run last season. And let's see where Dylan Ibrahimian slots in. And keep in mind, even if this lap wasn't that good, again, the go or go homers are going to have to reset. The ones that did not lock in will reset to the back of the field for the duels, so that way we can balance them out. And out of 4, where does Dylan Ibrahimian place? 50.066 for the 18. And that'll put him in 5th. Carter Joey is going to start 2nd. Austin Shaw will start 1st here at Daytona for the 500. Austin Shaw gets his first 500 pole. Alrighty, that wraps up qualifying. Congratulations to our front row, Carter Joey, Austin Shaw. Austin Shaw, his first ever Daytona 500 pole, and Carter Joey, again, his first front row start in the Great American Race. They hold off the rookies in quite an interesting session, to say the least. Of course, congratulations as well to Jessica Kinghart, Bafode Sacco, Colin Cropley. They have locked themselves in as we take a look at the starting lineup for duel number 1. Of course, keep in mind, Austin Shaw, Pete Stevens will be the front row for that. Bafode Sacco will be the one that is locked in to duel number 1. Then, of course, you got, as I mentioned, the go or go homers will have to trail to the back. So Eric Faden, Parker Smith, Alexander Rowe. Keep in mind, the star next to Alexander Rowe, he does have the provisional that he can use to make the field. That could be bad news for the others, like Charles Sanford, Nicholas Dewitt, the 36, the 1 as well. So we'll see what happens in duel number 1 as we flip it on over to duel number 2's starting lineup. Carter Joey and Jessica Kinghart will make up the front row for that. Then, of course, see Colin Cropley. The big thing, though, as I mentioned, the Fords and the Hondas, they've got a lot to prove in the blue-green vacation duels. And, of course, we'll see what happens when those duels get underway. Of course, the duels will be at 7 p.m. tomorrow here on Tinkle Sports 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Tinkle Sports and Tinkle Group Gaming. Oh my goodness, I am fumbling big time, guys. I'm sorry again. So 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Tinkle Group Gaming. Be here on YouTube. We will have the duels for you. We want to thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow for the duels. And if not, or maybe even before that, of course, tomorrow will also be Lift National Series qualifying here. So we'll hope to see you for one of those events. Until then, guys, goodbye, everyone.